Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. It is Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Thursdays are always loaded. Back into this hour, Paul Charchian with fantasy football. But here we go. The maestro himself joins us in studio, Mike Palm. He is the VP of the Circa Casino, the Golden Gate, and the D in downtown Vegas. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Mitch. Good morning, Paul.
Hey, Mike.
Good morning, Pomfret, Connecticut.
Oh.
Our loyal Nesson family. I guess you could say peekaboo on all these with the video issues this morning. Bourbonnais, Illinois. Hell, shout out to Kankakee, too. Peekaboo Marquis, we see you. Perry Sound in Ontario, Canada. Rogers Sportsnet, Stowe Township, that's a suburb of Pittsburgh, watching on AT&T. Big win for the Steelers Monday night. In 29 Palms, California.
29 Palms.
Sunrise over Spectrum.
Very nice. Were you surprised how many teams were used in Circa Survivor last week?
There's a lot. I mean, there were 30 the first week. What would we have? 24 something? It's amazing. But you know what these are. This is the double options. People weren't taking just the Bears in Tampa. You know, they're trying to get rid of two teams, which is a little conservative early. You know, everybody's got to be cute. The consensus pick, the Commanders and then the Bills both march on, and meanwhile a third of the field's eliminated, more than a third of the field. So you don't always have to be cutesy here.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Paul said he's going to go multiple entries on the Niners tonight.
Boy, I thought you have to focus on Florida this week. You're either using Miami or Jacksonville. Was my opinion here. You've got the Niners to use against Arizona
next week.
I'm going to do that too.
That's my theory.
Well, okay, I understand, but Jags have lost 9 in a row to Houston. And remember what happened? Half the field was knocked out last year, that 13-6 game. But
I get it.
Sure, I understand. Okay.
How about Miami?
I wouldn't be surprised if Peyton shocks the world.
I would be.
Would you?
I'm going to ask Michael Lombardi later on the Palms Pressing 3 about what's really the problem in Denver. Is it Wilson?
Okay.
Is it Peyton? I mean, how soon will Amal Shaw declare it was all Breeze and not Peyton?
He hasn't yet?
He's not yet. He's stuck to the Brady argument.
What did you think of that onside kick to begin the year?
Why? It's too much ego. I think he mismanaged the game in several ways.
Sure.
The long field goal, not going on. It was all bungled.
Do you think?
And then you blow a 21-3 lead to the Commanders at home?
Yep. I will tell you that, look, I mean, and here at Circa, again, you have the holiday weeks that are their own separate, adventure, because you got to save teams for Thanksgiving and then Christmas. The Chiefs play on Christmas.
Yep.
They get the Raiders. Most people, I think, are going to want to save the Chiefs in case they're still alive to have that for that day. But also, I think some people are going to say, this Bears team, as you called, by the way, you hated this Bears team before the season started.
I know Paul had it, but this was my thing for the thing. I got them under 6.5 plus 230.
Oh,
they're going to lose. They're going to lose this week to Kansas City. They'd have, for me to lose the bet, they got to go 7-7 the rest of the way. Think about that. Why? They're terrible. They scored more than a touchdown only in the second half in only one of the last 10 games last year. They were not competitive. How did the lines get so much better? Bad O-line, bad D-line, and an inaccurate quarterback. Where's the and the win total went up by 5.
5.
Come on.
They had to win 8 games this year.
8 to go over.
How do you handicap this mess in the last 24 hours, too?
Well,
the DC quits, Fields.
I was shocked when I heard that the Bears defensive coordinator quit. I was even more shocked to learn they had a defensive coordinator. Let's put it that way. And how about Fields, though? Can you be any worse with the media?
I know.
I juxtaposition him against Coco Gauff. And this girl's straight out of Central Casting. I mean, she never hits a false note in any interview after a match. And this guy,
the story about Brad Gilbert was so good, but
even with the protesters and understanding their point. But this guy's effort. I mean, I'm being coached too much. I mean, what are you saying about yourself? Too much info. I just got to flow. I got to be me. I mean, this is an Ohio State education.
Oh, is that what it is?
Well, I don't know. But you're telling me they should let him be? They never let him run the ball, really, at Ohio State. They kept the clamps on him there. Very few designed runs.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? I always said, why don't you let him run more in these tight? They lost that game at home to Oregon. Never let him run. 3rd and 6, 4th and 5. Why run the guy? He's just not an accurate passer.
Yeah. And we brought this up earlier. Again, something that we could not understand in the offseason. Like, how are they power rated according to division odds and their season win total? They were power rated higher than the Packers.
It's ludicrous. I mean, if you're handicapping the Central or the North, just draw a line through them, right? Draw a line through them. That's what we know is they're still the worst team in the division. Now figure out the other 3. Those are the mysteries.
I like your point at the end. I don't care if you have Randy Moss and Jerry Rice. Well, why was DJ Moore going to make a difference? This guy isn't accurate, so what would it matter who the wide receivers are?
Doesn't matter. The line has to be better.
Remember,
you got to be able to run the football.
The preseason game against the Titans when people were losing their minds, and I said, hey, those were dump-offs, and the Titans' defense is shaky, and they took him to the house like 60 yards. I don't care. Fields, okay, all right.
They were betting this guy for MVP. I just don't get it. But anyhow, let's move on to more challenging topics.
Yes.
You got that one right.
I fell off my couch when Circa Sports tweeted this. 5,200 people got in Circa Millions. That's 5 games ATS a week against the spread. How many are 10-0?
2.
Come on.
2
out of 50.
Ack Attack and One Bad Mother. That's the name of the mother. That's the name of the 2 entries.
Wow.
10-0, and nobody's 0-10.
Really?
How about that? 0-9-1. 5 people are 0-9-1 on the booby side of it.
How many people did you think were going to be 10-0?
Somewhere between 8 and 15, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, there were it was 151 minus 30. 113 people were 5-0 the first week. So only 2 of them went 5-0 the second week.
Wow.
I mean, and even if you look, 2 people 10-0, 2 9-0 on 1, and 22. So there's only 26 people 9-1 or better. And then you go down to 8-1-1, 50, and 102 people are 8-2.
I'm 7-3 right now in millions.
That's not bad.
I'm not going to cash the quarterly. But if I could somehow maintain a pace like that the entire year,
you're
I'll
7-3?
Yeah, tied with like 350 people, I think.
324. But 76, 178 to... there's only 430 people ahead of you, right?
Well,
and then you're in that group of 300.
Put it this way, I need to have a good week this week.
Well, you need to keep having 4-1s. That's what's really important.
Of course, yes. I have to avoid the 0-5.
Oh, yes.
Have to avoid that. So I got there with the Steelers. Should not have gotten there on Monday night. How concerned? You like this Browns team a lot.
I don't know if you should not have gotten there. Their defense created points for them. I love the Browns team, but I'm really concerned now with Chubb down.
Well,
Watson can't win the game for him. When they got the fumble and touchdown, I immediately went. And I had the under, which was gone on the first play of the game. I thought you would never get back to that pace. But I bet the Steelers minus whatever was 270. I said, Watson is not leading this team on a touchdown drive. It's impossible for him to put 3 or 4 good passes in a row together. Just couldn't do it. If you had Chubb, maybe. But now there's trouble there.
Well, Pauly asked me on Tuesday, how much time am I willing to give Watson with the whole rust narrative? Right? Still? Are you over it already?
Who do you think has a better shot of returning to form, Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson?
That's a great question.
Neither is my answer, but
I would maybe lean
You saw
Wilson.
some flashes of it with Wilson.
You did a little bit,
when he can get people in space.
Well,
the deep ball.
We're at the same point in the game, though. Both contracts are absolutely horrendous now. Out of 35 quarterbacks with 200 passing attempts since the start of last year, he's 33rd in yards per attempt, just below Wentz. He's 33rd in passer rating, just below Davis Mills. He's 34th in sack rate, completion percentage, and 30th in success rate. This is ugly. Ugly for Watson. Bad. So, better snap out of it soon. And
they
it better
do have
start
an elite
against Tennessee.
defense.
Yes, they do.
It's absolutely
elite
elite.
defense.
You can't lose that. You can't lose Mitch.
You
is
held
right.
the Steelers to 1 play. They had 1 offensive play.
That's it.
Busted play. They also were -7 in the fourth quarter in yards. And they got the defensive. So even if you just go conservative and bunt, you're going to win the game because they're doing the Fire Canada chance during the.
Now, are you surprised the Steelers this week are catching as many points as they are out here against Las Vegas?
Well, they haven't shown anything offensively in 2 games, so that's the problem.
They've also played the Browns and the Niners defenses.
Yes, two of you could argue that's 2 of the top 3 defenses, 3 or 4 defenses in the league. The Raiders didn't show too much in Buffalo, though. I mean, which even more goes to how bad Denver is. I'm talking people into a Miami play, I think, here in Survivor. I am concerned for Cleveland also. Excuse me. We don't give John Harbaugh enough credit as a coach, I think. I mean, they were the walking wounded going into Cincinnati there. And I've been concerned about whether Monken was the right guy, Todd Monken, to run that off. I thought they should have hired his brother out of West Point and run the triple option before getting in a passing game coach. But, I mean, If you watched them, they were very efficient. They missed a field goal and gave up a punt return touchdown and still won in Cincinnati in that divisional game. They're going to be a tough out this year,
and they were banged up across the board.
Every offensive line, they're down to no running backs. I mean, they had a lot of issues there. Lamar played very well.
I've pondered a bet on him to win the MVP. Haven't done it yet, but...
What do you think of Baltimore in Survivor? It looks like it'll be Minshew. Harbaugh is 49-8 straight up against teams 500 or worse.
They come off a big win, so I don't like, typically when you're coming off a big win there. I think Miami's the play. I don't like Kansas City, but for the Christmas, but also why road? You don't need to use road teams at this point in the season. Stay away from divisional games and stay away from road teams.
A lot of options.
Yeah.
It's a weird week.
But then Jacksonville divisional game.
Yeah.
He kind of trying to sneak Jacksonville in there. But yeah, they've been terrible against this team.
Here's the thing with this Texans team this week, they're banged up. They have a lot of injuries. How does Trevor Lawrence not have a good game? If both safeties miss again this week, he's not going to correct itself from last week where he didn't do much against that Chiefs defense.
That was a strange game. I mean, because they kept turning the ball over.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no scoring, but it wasn't really all defensive. It was so many turnovers.
It felt like the game should have had way more points than what it did. I mean, it was the highest total on the board. It was 40-1 in the
only game that went under.
Yeah, that's it. How
the
about
whole
that?
week?
How about that correction? The week one unders in week one completely flipped. Imagine that, huh? All right, it's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We'll continue with the maestro, Mike Palm, in studio up next. No hyperbole. He'll run down the biggest gaffes of the previous week, and we're told a Hall of Famer is back on the list. Find out who it is next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Looking to be a better. Of course you are. Tens of thousands of people have already turned to Juice Reel. Juice Reel in the App Store. It's not a sports book, a tool to help you beat the books. Juice Reel connects all your sports betting accounts into one app, loads all your betting history, and gives you an edge. Backed by nearly $1 billion in bets from bettors in all 50 states. Use the data to follow the winners and fade the losers. Download Juice Reel today. Juice like orange juice, Reel, R-E-E-L. Absolutely free. Download Juice Reel to your iPhone or Android device today and become a better. Let's go.
No bias.
You will respect my authority.
No pulled punches.
Your wife cheated on you because you lost sight of who you are as a man, as a husband.
No agenda.
There is no fear in this dojo.
This is no hyperbole.
This is the best part of the week.
Here's the maestro, Mike Palm.
I am the slightest.
All right, we're stretching out this week. Let's start with number 4, Rebels Without a Pause. And one of the top intersectional matchups of week 3 of the college football season, Vanderbilt from the SEC traveled to Las Vegas to take on UNLV at Allegiant Stadium. That'll tell you all you need to know about week 3. A.J. Swan's 34-yard touchdown pass to Quincy Skinner Jr. tied the game at 37 with 1:07 to go. Here's where the game got wacky. On the ensuing drive, UNLV quarterback Jaden Mayawa, who started at Liberty High School here in town, was intercepted. After 3 runs for a combined 6 yards, Vandy attempted a 33-yard field goal, but Jacob Borsella missed, giving the ball back to UNLV on its own 20 with 44 seconds left. After an incomplete pass on first down, UNLV seemed to be conceding by handing the ball off on second down and gaining 4 yards. The Commodores could have sailed on into overtime, but Clark Lee called timeout. And this inspired UNLV. On the next play, Mayawa completed a 10-yard pass to give them a first down, and then found Ricky White for 48 yards to the Vanderbilt 18. Jose Pisano nailed a 36-yard field goal to give the Rebels a 40-37 victory and move to 3-0 against the spread. Let's examine Clark Lee's decision to take the timeout before they headed into overtime. UNLV had amassed 345 yards up to that point, 37 points, 19 first downs, and had been 10 of 19 on third down. Perhaps overtime would have been the better decision for the former Notre Dame coach. All right, number 3, you play to win the tiebreakers. A lot of talk this week about the ending of the Rams 49ers game at SoFi. The Rams trailed 30-29 with their final possession of the game. They faced 2nd and 10 from their own 45 with 41 seconds and no timeouts left. Matt Stafford found Kyron Williams for 8 yards to the San Francisco 37. Here's the time to spike the ball. Here's the time to give yourself a chance to win the game. Brett Maher would then needed to connect on a 55-yard field goal, and you still would have had close to 30 seconds left to attempt an onside kick and then a Hail Mary to tie the game. But no, they let the clock continue to run, and then Stafford found Puka Nacua down to the Rams 20, spiking the ball and kicking the field goal. I don't disagree at the point where you don't spike the ball when you get to the 37, that you could kick the field goal on the end. Now, points differential is the 7th tiebreaker when it comes to playoffs in the NFL. Did you know that, Paul? I would have thought it was 5th, but it's the 7th.
I read it was 9th. Yeah.
Head-to-head, divisional record, common games, conference record, strength of victory, strength of schedules, and then overall points differential amongst the teams that are tied is that. Did Sean McVay know the spread, which sat at 7.5? Perhaps. It's more likely that these college coaches, where no tiebreakers are involved and continuing to run offense quickly in the final minutes of games, know the point spread than he did. The poor decision here, and what makes no hyperbole, is his decision once they got to the 37. Okay, number 2, whistles swallowed. What a strange game that was in Denver. The Broncos lead 21-3 with 7 minutes left in the first half before Russell Wilson inexplicably fumbles the ball near the sideline. The Redskins get a touchdown, a penalty, they convert to 2, a field goal before halftime, and all of a sudden it's 21-14. Do you realize that during a stretch in that game that the Commanders outscored the Broncos 32-3? I'm not sure that the Commanders could outscore the Bears during any stretch 32-3. How ridiculous. Well, we get to the end where the Broncos have the ball with 19 seconds left and no timeouts, complete a 16-yard pass to midfield, and then a double deflection Hail Mary to Brandon Johnson for a touchdown. Now all they need is the 2 to send this crazy game into overtime. Wilson locks in on Cortland Sutton, who's defended by Benjamin St. Just. A little bit of contact is an understatement. Now, Gene Steratore, who they didn't let come on camera to talk about it, tweeted after the game that the contact clearly affected his ability to catch the ball. Somehow, none of the officials looking at this play, where the ball went, seemed to think that was pass interference. Perhaps it was because St. Just did not lock his fingers in the full Nelson. Perhaps that's the reason they let him get it. This is absolute. How can this happen? Now, remember when they experimented with the rule where you could challenge pass interference once a game? Mm-hmm. I think we need it here in this spot. This would have been a quick overturn and a reattempt from the 1-yard line. All right, finally we get to number 1. Really not good. One of Pauly's favorite headlines. For the no hyperbole purist, Anthony Lynn is no longer a head coach. Tony Correnti has retired. Angel Hernandez is down to his last appeal. But thank God, we still have Matt Campbell. Fresh off letting Brian Ferentz offense rack up 9 first downs and an easy win and cover in the house that Dan McCarney built, Iowa State traveled to Athens, Ohio to take on MAC powerhouse Ohio Bobcats on Saturday. Amazingly, this was the best bet of 6 out of the 16 participant in Matt Human's Friday night contest. Ohio plus 2.5. The most consensus pick of the week so far. Well, Iowa State didn't disappoint. Another pathetic offensive performance, and they lost to Ohio 10-7. Now you have to walk up a hill as you exit that stadium there in Ohio. And there was an Iowa State fan who'd made the 11-hour bus drive from Ames to Athens, who, as the team and Matt Campbell passed, shouted something towards the head coach. Now, parents, if your children are watching at home on Nesson, Masson, wherever Marquee they may be consuming this, you may want to ask your children to leave the room, because I am going to repeat what this fan said. And if you're a little faint of heart, I apologize to you. Direct quote, he said, "Campbell, what are you doing? You are on the hot seat." I know, outrageous. I was going to try to spell it out for those sensitive of you. This compelled Matt Campbell to turn around and try to charge at this fan. He had to be held back by security, his fellow coaches, and his own players. I want you, if you're watching, take a look at this man that said this. Take a look. Now, obviously, this young lad has encountered some problems in his life. This is the guy that Matt Campbell wanted to beat up for saying, you're on the hot seat. In his press conference on Tuesday, he was asked about it, and Campbell said, I'm not perfect. I'm human. Well, I'm going to give you some numbers that are a little less than human, all right? The Bear had a great tweet about this. Incredible tweet. Chris Felica, formerly of ESPN, now with Fox Sports, their betting expert. Matt Campbell has coached in 26 games where his team was anywhere from a 4-point favorite to a 4-point dog. He is 6-20 in those games, having lost the last 11. Pauly, you and I remember the game at Baylor a couple years ago.
Yeah.
They did everything they could but win that game. I mean, they should have won by 3 touchdowns. They lost the game outright. Matt Campbell had Brock Purdy and Breece Hall in the same backfield. He went 7-5. All right, the bloom is off the rose here, folks. This guy is NG, no good. And as soon as Iowa State learns that they need to move on from him, the better. You were unlucky, Cyclones, that somebody didn't snatch him up when he was a hot product. And that is no hyperbole.
By the way, so actually 7-6 that one year because they lost their bowl game. Here are the numbers for Purdy and for Breece Hall in 2 years back-to-back. 1 year, Purdy, 72% completion percentage, 3,200 yards, 19 touchdowns. That same year, Breece Hall, 1,464 on the ground, 20 touchdowns. The year, another year, Purdy, 67%, 19 touchdowns. Hall, almost 1,600 yards rushing, 21 touchdowns.
Yeah, 500 team.
Yeah, 500 pretty much, yeah. That's what you get.
Yeah, good job. We've been on this for 4 years. I mean, remember when Clay Helton got fired? It was like, who's going to take the job? This guy was on the list.
Oh, he was up for a lot of jobs.
I never understood it.
USC, all of them.
I know.
Yeah, I think other big jobs. Wasn't he talked about for Notre Dame?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That guy?
Yeah.
Wow.
You remember in the Big 12 championship game in Dallas where he was caught on the hot mic using a lot of disgusting terms about the official.
Was like blushing. Yeah,
it was awful. I think that told you all you needed to know about that guy.
I thought you were going to say the fan yelled, "Nice game, pretty boy." You made me start that.
Look at that fan. Somebody tweeted, if you and I was sitting on Halloween and you're not dressed as Matt Campbell and that fan, you're doing something wrong.
Yes.
Yeah. No kidding. 11-hour drive?
Yeah. A bus ride. 11-hour bus ride.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
As the crow flies, it's shorter, but it's...
Yeah, okay. All right, follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. In-pocket plays are up next. And Mike is off to a hot start again this year in the Friday Night Football Invitational here at Circa on VSiN. Who does he like in some of the games that we have this weekend? It's a loaded card, specifically in college. Find out next here on Follow the Money.
To determine the winner of any given college basketball game.
Someone gives you 10,000 to 1 on anything. You take it. Take it. Take it.
I'll bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day. No way. I'll give you 3 to 1 odds. Nope. 5 to 1. Nope. 10 to 1. You're on.
A couple of touchdown props that I like tonight. George Kittle plus 215. Grab that. That was at Circa earlier this morning. I would still bet it at plus 185 or plus 190. Circa offers really good numbers on the touchdown props here. And also, this one might not be available at all books, but if you shop around, based on game flow, what Shanahan said this week, smaller bet, we'll call it, Mike Palmer like this, we'll call it a 0.2 units, right? On Elijah Mitchell anytime touchdown in the second half. It's 5 to 1. Shanahan wants to split up the carries based on the point spread tonight. Niners get out to a big lead. McCaffrey takes a seat at some point. They score more points. Mitchell's in, goal line carry. 5 to 1 to score a touchdown in the second half tonight with Elijah Mitchell on a Mike Palm special with 0.2 units on that bet.
Is that more than pizza money or is that Taco Bell money?
We'll call it a little bit of both.
Yeah? Okay. All right. Subscription contest going between the shows here at VSiN. Need your help to win? At stake's a $1,000 voucher here at Circa. How good is this Stevens kid, huh? Isn't that awesome? To be used on a Super Bowl futures ticket. To sweeten the deal for you, you save 10% when you sign up for a new VSiN Pro annual subscription. Use promo code FTM. Bragging rights and a juicy futures ticket on the line. Time to start betting smarter. Help us do the same. VSiN.com/subscribe. Sign up for a new VSiN Pro annual subscription. Save 10% with promo code FTM. VSiN.com/subscribe.
As we continue here with the maestro, Mike Palm, he's in studio, the VP of Circa Resort and Casino. You are a part of the Friday Football Invitational here. Matt Humans hosts it on VSiN from Circa. You're ineligible to win the prize at the end of the year because, of course, you are the VP down here. All the picks are available after they're put out, vsin.com, for those of you who want to track it and maybe you can't catch the show. Off to another really good start this year, Mike. What's been working for you? Are you doing more college or NFL?
I've been doing 4 and 3. That's been the formula both weeks. 4 and the same results: 3-1 in college, 2-1 in the pros.
Okay.
I was 10-3 going into the Monday night. I needed the under in that, and I would have lost that either way if I would have taken Cleveland, because I would have taken Cleveland if I took a side. I'm mad in the college because I reluctantly used Kansas laying 28 on the road, which never really had a shot to cover against UNR. I thought about long and hard South Alabama because I just think Arizona State's no good, and therefore Oklahoma State's no good, right? And South Alabama, they win the game outright. It was easy. Yeah, but so far, but let's be honest, no pressure. I mean, it's totally different for Wes Reynolds and myself and Humans and the Juiced Bot to pick without any pressure, right? I mean, these other guys, the 25,000 might save them. So we're free-flowing here like Justin Fields, and things are going. But I stuck to my theories from week 1. Like, I faded the Bears. I faded the Bears again.
Okay.
I was on the Green Bay. I was on Green Bay again in that game, right? They covered the contest number, which was 1.5. It went up 3 here at one point on Sunday morning. In a game, though, where they were totally outgained by Atlanta. But so, anyhow, and then I go by kind of what I see in college football, more than preseason notions. I'm still sticking to my preseason notions in the NFL.
Okay. What have you seen so far from Notre Dame and Ohio State? Have you formulated an opinion on this game at all?
It's really, I'm really tempted to lay 3 in this game. I don't know what we know about either team really, but I have to believe that Ohio State's going to be able to put points on the board. Central Michigan ran the ball on Notre Dame, and so I'm concerned there. Hartman's really good. He's like a professional college quarterback, right? I mean, he's maybe the best since Paulus. So, and I have fond memories of betting Ohio State at Notre Dame. One of the biggest bets I had made up to this point, and I was in my early 20s, was when they played in '96, and I laid the points at 3.5, I believe, and that's a Pepe Pearson game where Pepe Pearson went off and they won 29-16 at Notre Dame Stadium. So 3 is really tempting. I'll probably use that in the contest if it's still 3 at noon on Friday.
Oh, some of those John Cooper coach teams for Ohio State. I mean, that dude could recruit as well as anybody.
Let's be honest. They've had Notre Dame's number through the years, too. Notre Dame has had no success against Ohio State.
What number would you need to bet Colorado at Oregon?
That's so hard to know. Those fans are right. That's really, you could say that's the toughest place in the country to play, Outson Stadium. I think the number's a little high, though.
Oh, you do?
Honestly. I would have made this game about 18 or 19, so I'm going to be in California, so I'm not going to be betting the game. But if I had to take a pre-flop side, I might take Colorado here. Look, Oregon had no business winning that game at Texas Tech, let alone covering it.
Agreed.
Really, I didn't think. And then they played a high school team the first game. They had 700 yards. So
yeah, right.
We'll see. We'll see how good the Colorado defense is as well here. Because, I mean, this total might be way low at 70.5.
Look at the Oregon team total, 45.5. I mean, they could touch 50 in this game, but how many points will Colorado score with them?
They'll play fast with them.
Yeah,
how fast does Deion want to go?
Right.
It's an advantage when he's playing at elevation and those other teams aren't used to it and you make them play 80 snaps. Is it an advantage when you go that quick? Although, I don't know. Maybe you keep the crowd noise out of the game by going that quick, but remember, you got to get positive yards on first down to keep going quick.
Yeah. What have you seen with Alabama?
They don't have a quarterback. This is like reminiscent of pre-Saban era where they just didn't have anybody. Nobody can throw the ball there. And meanwhile, tried to watch that game right before halftime when they had to pull all the cameras. They had like a blimp shot. All you could do was look at that white box in the lower right corner. Was it a touchdown? Nope, 3rd and 8. Yeah. How you sweat that game? Yeah. Ben Wilson, who's my co-host on Live Bet Saturday, bet the Alabama team total under 13.5, which was a good bet because the weather was coming.
Yep.
But then with the delay, you say, now we're going to come back in perfect conditions and move the ball. But South Florida did enough with the ball to eat clock when they had it running. So it was a good bet. I mean, it never came close to 13.5.
Yeah. Now 7 against Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. 6.5, 7.
Which is, what a strange game that was. And like the first half was way under, and then the second half had 1,000,000 points. And they ran that play in at the end. But I mean, he ran a play, but still Georgia Tech's got to miss like 5 tackles on the play.
I don't know. I wouldn't say attempt. Did they attempt a tackle?
I don't know what that was. They were running by him.
It seems like it was, hey,
they whipped. Yeah, go ahead, pal. Get in the end zone to the walk-on. Yeah. Any opinion on Oregon State and Wazoo? Pauly and I each like Wazoo.
I think Washington State's really good. I do. I like Washington State in this spot.
Yeah.
I do.
Do you trust DJ on the road? That's the question. But
wasn't very good last week.
I know. Ward has been awesome so far.
It's a tough place to play in the Palouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Hey, did you...
what about Iowa, Penn State?
How many points?
Under 40. Tough place to play. I don't know that,
Give me the score then.
Give you the score of the game?
31-10? No, I thought that it'd be 31-7?
24-9.
24-9, something like that?
Yeah.
So Iowa does nothing offensively.
Penn State didn't do much against Illinois. Kansas went up and down the field, but Illinois just kept turning the ball over and giving them short fields.
Yeah. +5 in a turnover battle, I think it was in that game. So, boy, this is bad. I mean, look at, again, every year with this team. And look at the team total, you're right. Brad Powers just told us they're not going to get there. He's going to go, he thinks he'll be shocked. What do you say? He'll be shocked if they get 10 points?
Yeah, I said 9.
Think about that.
I said 9. How are they getting a touchdown if it's not special teams?
You got running backs
special
out.
Teams or defense,
that's it.
That's true. The tight end's out.
Tight end's out, yep.
I don't know. I just, there's got to be a better way, right? I know the guy wins, but come on.
He wins.
But how can you watch this stuff? How can you stomach it
the fan base, though. That's what they want. They're relevant. They're in the Big Ten West race every year. He's had a couple 10-win seasons.
You can do better than that, though.
You can?
Yes.
Well, here they got a Michigan quarterback, and now the guy's banged up and he can't move around.
How did Hayden Fry do?
Well, they scored a lot of points.
Sure, I know he had Chuck Long, but I mean, you would go to Rose
He even said
Bowls.
one time early in the year, we're going to have to outscore our opponents to win the games, which was very epiphanic, right? Chuck Long, remember Chuck Long in the Freedom Bowl against Texas? Threw for 1,000,000 yards.
How can you forget?
That was the closest Heisman vote ever. He and Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson, and Chuck Long.
Bo Jackson beat him that year. Yep.
Okay, we'll close on this. This poker player in town who admitted to lying about having terminal stage 4 colon cancer. He raised between $30,000 and $50,000 in donations so he could play in the 2023 World Series of Poker main event in Las Vegas. Busted. Doesn't have cancer. And he was living the high life.
Well, these GoFundMes are dangerous. I know somebody that did this, that raised money, not to go play in the World Series of Poker, but they raised money for, a disease that wasn't at the point they said it was, and they're fine. But, people have sham weddings, too. I mean, they do it for the money.
Yes.
They have these weddings. Yes. They come in, they give you 6 pieces of chicken for 10 people at the table. They get the money and run. Yeah. And then divorce 2 weeks later or whatever. I mean, people are bad people, right?
I've been at a wedding that served breakfast for... what do you think about that?
No.
At what time of day?
5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, my God.
Did they have an omelet station?
It was like pancakes, sausages, and donuts.
Yeah.
How about that?
Oh, my God. I got the LASIK surgery, and I talked to the gal who worked there, and she goes, well, I got divorced. It only lasted a couple months. I didn't love the guy. I go, why'd you get married? Well, I wanted to have the day, she said.
Is that where you're making this decision?
Paul wants to have the day.
She wanted to have the day.
And the engagement? Is that why you got engaged? You're looking forward to the big day?
No.
The girl with $12 million wasn't enough.
I mean, it's incredible, right? I got another one. Oh, I don't have time. I got another one where these.
Mitch runs you right up against the brick wall here.
Always my problem.
Great story.
Always.
No, but you knew you're up against it when you give the kid money and he's in the pit gambling. And he's like, wait a second.
Spotted by people. Yeah,
sure.
Spotted by people who donated.
Complaining about the Bellagio suite. I'm not up to my standards. You're going to die, I thought. What?
Yeah, he might now.
That's exactly great appearance, Maestro. Paul Charchian on the program next. He thinks a big name player could have a breakout game tonight.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
3 tonight, Niners at home. DraftKings Sportsbook keeping us in on the NFL action with great offers every single game day. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Football's more fun when you're in on the action. Download the app now and sign up with code FOLLOW. New customers can bet $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NFL with code FOLLOW. Creativity off the charts. Great menu. The crown is yours at DraftKings. Good luck.
Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian joins the program now. GuillotineLeagues.com is the website. You can still draft. as we speak. All of his rankings are available as well every week for free. You can just click on Charch Ranks. Good morning, sir. It's good to talk to you on the program yet again. What do you want to do in terms of Matt Breida tonight, filling in for no Saquon Barkley? Is he worth a start against this Niners defense, or would you look at the player props and say, no, he's going to do nothing and maybe go under?
Yeah, I don't like it. Given the state of NFL running backs, you might be desperate enough to feel like I got to do something with Matt Breida because, they're all dead. But let's hope it's not here, right? No back has hit 100 yards against the Niners in 35 straight games, so you can pretty much rule out a big game from Matt Breida. And through 2 games, the Niners are giving up just 44 rushing yards to opponents total. That's it. So it doesn't look good here. Runners have found some success against the Niners through the air, guys, but that's not Matt Breida's game. He's averaged for last 4 years, he's averaged 1 catch per game. So we can't even try to find some alternate value through the air. I feel like it's all bad here. There's some reports out of New York that it's going to be much more of a timeshare than people realize, which, that would be a big blow as well if we got to have to look at guys like Gary Brightwell and Eric Gray on the field and additionally. So I think there's a lot of reasons to either avoid or take the under in Matt Breida tonight.
Okay, and Mitch is high on Kittle tonight. And remember when Purdy came in right away, the rapport with Kittle and the numbers he was putting up was fantastic. What do you think of the of Purdy and Kittle?
Yeah, this is the angle. Mitch is right. Cardinals tight ends just went off for 88 yards against the Giants. So, I like that. By the way, it's the Cardinals tight end. I didn't really emphasize the key parts of this. The Cardinals tight ends just went off for 88 yards. Giants were a bottom 10 tight end defense last year in receptions allowed, yards allowed. That looks to be trending the same way here. Brandon Ayuk either is going to play hurt or he's not going to play at all in this game. Mm-hmm. So there should be some extra attention to Kittle here as well. When Kittle's healthy, in these rare moments that we're not rolling into a Sunday wondering whether or not Kittle's actually going to play, he generally fares very well. He's one of the best, obviously, one of the best tight ends in the league when fully healthy. So we're going to take the opportunity here. I don't know what his prop bet is. Mitch, I bet you know his props off the top of your head. What are we looking at for his over-unders?
It's around 44.5 tonight for the receiving yards. I bet plus 215 anytime touchdown.
Oh, I like that too. Plus 215 sounds like a value play there. If Ayuk doesn't go, and I got to find a touchdown outside of Christian McCaffrey. George Kittle would definitely be the guy. So 215 makes a ton of sense. Love that. And I go over the 44 as well.
Yeah, that's the number that I'm seeing. What about Purdy? Do you want to start him tonight against this defense?
Now, this one's a little bit trickier. Giants pass defense hasn't given up any fantasy points, but that's because they got blown out by Dak Prescott, who did not have to pass, and then they played Josh Dobbs, who can't pass. So, we really don't have a great read on this Giants defense and secondary yet this year. And I am a little bit worried that we get Niners blowout in this game too. So, maybe there's not going to be a big emphasis on the passing game if it goes that way. Giants obviously are fully capable of that. Giants hold a PFF grade as the 4th worst coverage unit. If Brandon Ayuk goes, then I'm a lot warmer on Brock Purdy. Their depth chart's not great after their 2 starting wideouts. So I think a lot of this really hinges on Ayuk's availability, which right now is a mystery.
I'm sure you have a great story on this. I can't get enough of the Puka story. How long can this continue, and what happens when Kupp comes back?
So when Kupp returns, the guy who's getting iced out is Van Jefferson.
Oh.
The Rams desperately needed Van Jefferson last year after Cooper Kupp went out, right? They needed somebody step up, right? And we all thought Van Jefferson was going to be the guy. Oh, and he flopped terribly, right? And he's done nothing this year. But let me tell you what the sneaky tell is on why Van Jefferson's going to get phased out. Sean McVay has moved Jefferson's routes. Through his whole career, he had been an outside receiver. Not this year. They've moved him into the slot for over half of his routes. That's Cooper Kupp's natural position. So when Kupp comes back, Van Jefferson's going to be the guy that's the odd man out. And so Puka Nacua is going to be fine. And maybe, just maybe, Sean McVay doesn't change what's already working with Puka Nacua. Maybe Kupp turns into the number 2 receiver. We'll see. Hey, let me run this by you. Nickname, I'm workshopping a nickname. Puka Thermonuka. No.
I like Puka de Peppo better.
I like Pauly's nickname the best.
What's that?
Puka de Peppo.
Oh, Puka de Peppo. I like Puka. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm listening. Look, we're just in the workshop.
Yeah, we're working it. We're working it out.
Yes.
Who doesn't like good Italian food? I mean, come on, right?
Yeah, come on. Family style.
Good
Big time, right?
Hey, can you trust? Look, it hasn't been pretty for Deshaun Watson. We're talking to Paul Charchian, Fantasy Football Hall of Famer, GuillotineLeagues.com, but he's taking on this Titans defense. Does he get it corrected this week?
If not now, when? And why isn't there more to this story, by the way? I mean, here's the league's most reviled player, who is unjustly also the league's richest player, and he's been awful. Many people think there's a very real chance that Watson isn't as good as the Browns' backup, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who looked fantastic in the preseason. We don't know for sure. But there are people out there who believe that's the case. Now, obviously, they can't make the change because they're $250 million into Deshaun Watson, so they can't just pull that plug. But he might not be the best quarterback on the roster. Get this, league-wide, the only quarterback with a lower completion percentage than Deshaun Watson is Zach Wilson.
Oh,
that's the level that he's at. As the highest paid player in the league, he's only a little bit better than Zach Wilson's completion percentage. That's it. Now, the good news is they're playing Tennessee. Tennessee's got this crazy defensive philosophy they've been going with for a few years, which is basically this. We're going to stop the run. We're going to sell out to stop the run. And we're going to go ahead and give up gigantic passing days, long plays. They've given up back-to-back 300-yard passing days so far already this year. That's what they were doing last year. That's what they're doing this year. Cornerbacks are lousy. If Deshaun Watson can't pull it all together here, at least from a fantasy standpoint, you got to pull the plug. Just go on to somebody else. Go pick up C.J. Stroud, anybody else you want, because this is it. This is the last good chance. And some of his passing deficiencies, and from a fantasy standpoint, have been hidden by some decent running, but not even a lot of running. And that's no sure thing either. So it's all bad, right?
Mitch was disappointed with the season opener because Detroit was talking a big game about it. You wait, see how we use Gibbs. And then that happened. Yeah. What do you think of Gibbs against Atlanta?
Yeah, so Gibbs, you remember, of course, the 12th pick in the draft, and he's got some electric speed and burst and everything. So we went and looked at after David Montgomery left last week's game, what happened? So we can get maybe a sense of what's coming this week. Jahmyr Gibbs touched the ball 6 times. Craig Reynolds touched the ball 4 times. That's a 60-40 split, and I think that we're going to see a lot more Craig Reynolds than people realize, unfortunately. Oh, God. Now, Reynolds is a solid pass protector. Last week, Gibbs had 2 pass block assignments. Gibbs. He had 2 pass block assignments in last week's game. He allowed a pressure on one and a hurry on the other. And that's, these are the things that for a young player, pass protection is generally often not good. That might keep him off the field. Gibbs a great receiver, so he's, they're going to use him that way. But the Falcons are a good defense for that. They're giving up just 21 receiving yards per game to running back, so I can't even necessarily tell you to attack Gibbs as an air play. I think we're going to see way more of Craig Reynolds than people realize, and it's going to be potentially a disheartening game if your expectations are too high on Gibbs here.
Well, to flip it so far, right, the Atlanta defense, they've faced Jordan Love, been good so far, right? Not throwing for 1 million yards, and also look who they played in week 1, Bryce Young in that Carolina offense.
So bad. So bad. If that draft could be held over right now, if you could redo the draft right now, do you think Bryce Young would go number 1, or would it be Stroud or Richardson?
2 games in, I mean.
Please. I know, it's only 2.
Please, not even close.
Yeah, we couldn't believe Carolina traded up from 9 to take that guy.
We'll see.
But
I hear you.
Tell everybody about GuillotineLeagues.com.
Still creating new guillotine leagues. The premise is pretty straightforward, but it's new and novel. You don't play head-to-head. Instead, every week, the low-scoring team gets cut, and all their players go to the waiver wire, where the rest of us build superstar rosters throughout the entire season. All you have to do is be the last team standing. Don't finish last. You don't have to be best. Just don't be last. GuillotineLeagues.com. New leagues forming all the time, including today.
Great to talk to you again, pal. Good luck this week.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Yep, there you go. Paul Charchian, Fantasy Football Hall of Famer. I'm excited for the game tonight.
Sure.
Niners are, I think, probably the best team in football right now. We'll see if if they can stay healthy the entire year. Already the injury to Ayuk. But
do you think there'd be a lot of people using them in Survivor here in Circa?
I don't.
Okay.
You have a lot of other humongous spreads across the league on Sunday.
And the Niners next week play Arizona at home.
That's right, yeah.
All right. Thanks for being patient, guys.
Yes, absolutely today. And great job by everybody behind the scenes as well, getting that together today.